Rod Simmons says, Grant, who is the new Pettis McFloppy candidate? River Craycraft, maybe. Who sticks out to you? Okay. This is a good transition into my turn. Number 4. Javon Kinlaw.
Okay.
Now Javon Kinlaw is going into his second year, so it's not like make or break. He's got a future. He's got a 4-year contract, but he needs to show improvement. He's a good athlete, a good run defender, but if you're just a run defender and you don't really do much against the pass, you're basically replaceable. You're basically expendable in 2021. And I'm not saying he isn't anything against the pass, but he needs to show it now, because I saw him last year in camp. You'll see him this year. When he went up against Laken Tomlinson, he made Laken Tomlinson look like Larry Allen. He just couldn't. There's nothing he could do. His initial move didn't work, and he had no counters. And that was every day. So I need to see him beat Laken Tomlinson. If he does, then this could be a situation where he could be Chris Jones. He could be one of these really disruptive defensive tackles who just was figuring it out his first year. If not, he could be more like maybe an Eric Armstead type who's really, really good against the run, but his pass rush is going to be more dependent on who's around him. I need to see something from Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up, because it's true. Like, the things that I highlighted from last year about him were how great he was at shedding blocks and stopping the run. You know, and then I went back because I'm a complete masochist and I was just bored, and I watched the Eagles game again. And man, he had like 1 or 2 plays where he had Wentz in the grasp and he slipped out. If 1 or 2 of those go the other way, then he has sacks. So, you know, the other thing is that the guy he's replacing, and I know that he's not replacing him, and you can't just say 1 for 1, but DeForest Buckner was so good at everything. And that's why he's an all-pro. And, you know, that's why this defense, it can't approach the heights of 2019. It's almost impossible. DeForest Buckner is that good. He is that good.
He's just as good as Bosa, man. Having those two side by side was unfair. Yeah.
So, and it is interesting that you bring this up, because Kinlaw, if he doesn't start to show that trajectory of where they took him, he could turn into a rotational guy, and that's not what you want when you're talking about how high they drafted him. So I expect that he's going to play well, though. I do.
I do too. He put out really good tape, and people are encouraged with him. But the original question was, who's the next McGlinchey? It's always the first round pick. And the reason that like Jimmy Ward is just starting to get his due is because he was a first round pick, and you know he missed games. He didn't have a position for years. It took a couple of years of him playing well at one spot for people to really get it. But if you're a first round pick, the bar is very high. People don't want to hear it. People want to see Pro Bowls. End of story. And that's where Kinlaw, I mean, forget that he's replacing Buckner. That's true. But he was still the 14th pick in the draft. You got to be really good, man. And that's going to be as a pass rusher. So that's what we got to see from him.